Welcome to a new episode of Tom's Geeky Garage. Today we are doing a little kind of a new figure. Coming fresh off the heels of doing the big 14-inch Egon, I wanted to continue this custom Ghostbuster statue and go a little farther. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at some Peter Venkman figures. The one on the left here being obviously the classic first release that everyone pretty much has. Well, actually at this point I'm sure people have both of these. But when I was growing up, this one was my absolute favorite figure as a kid, mainly because of the Fright feature that they added. I thought that was such a fun thing. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to resculpt this guy to be more realistic, same way as I did with Egon. Put him in a cool pose and just go over detail with him, put a lot of detail and kind of recreate him. Some of his features you can see here. He has this nice vest, which is the thing that jumps at you at first. It looks like kind of like a fishing vest of somebody who goes like trout fishing. They have all these little attachments and buckles. Even on the back there's some pouches and buckles and stuff back here, which I don't know what that pouch would be used for because you couldn't reach it, but maybe his buddy would store stuff in it. You know, Ray would store some things in it. I don't know. He also came with this cool gun, which is more like a hook grabber. I don't know the name of it officially. I'm sure it says on the box, like it's probably some kind of like grabber or something like that. And then he came with this ghost, which I think it was called the Gruesome Twosome, from what I remember. I don't have it in front of me. I didn't research this much before I started recording, but I think that's what they were called. And there's like two ghosts here, and their tails are kind of locked together, creating this thing. And they were really interesting because there was a lot of stuff you could do with these guys. Oh dear. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand. Let me get my tripod. Okay, now we have the tripod here. We can use both hands. So yeah, so it had this like this cool like grabber gun, which had this hook on it, so you could take the ghost and you could just hang them on there like that. Still do that. Another thing you could do is you could put the ghost around his neck as like a little necklace. This is how usually I display it on my shelf. I just set them up there like that. And then also you could use them as like handcuffs. You could stick his hands up in there, and they could be like handcuffs, which I thought that was cool. So yeah, like what can we do with this? Well, ideally what I'm going to do is I'm going to resculpt this whole guy as a one-piece statue, kind of an action pose. We're going to recreate this guy with more detail. They kind of gave me a good structure to start with here, but we'll rebuild this with a lot of more detail than this has. And then we'll also recreate the Gruesome Twosome here in a more animated style. And then we'll pose him maybe in like mid-attack. We'll have him holding the gun, you know, some kind of an action pose, and we'll have these guys attacking him, maybe having him like wrapped around his neck or something, him fighting them off. I don't know yet. But that's the plan. We're going to modernize, make a deluxe figure of this. And on this one, I'm not going to go 14 inches like I did with the Egon, because that was kind of a stressful nightmare for me. So we're going to keep him maybe around, maybe a little bigger than this. We'll probably keep him around, I don't know, 7 to 8 inches tall, maybe a little taller than this. So yeah, so that's it. That's what we're going to do. So we'll get started on the 3D modeling now.
Alright, so starting this one out, I started out basically modeling the head. I didn't want to start completely from scratch on this one because I want it to look like a Kenner version of Peter, but not that ugly Fright feature one. So what I decided to do is just take a head off one of my other old Peter Kenner figures. We just 3D scanned that guy, and then I brought it in, did the 3D scan cleanup. And then after I had it all cleaned up, I basically just went in and kind of defined all his features a little more. Brought out the eyes, the nostrils, and the lips. After I defined those features, I went in and just detailed as far as texturing the hair with more realistic hair textures, and kind of did the flesh, added pores and things like that. Then I moved on to the body. The body, I started out with a humanoid type shape, and then just started sculpting in the details. I didn't get a whole lot of footage of me doing that, so I think here's a little bit here, but yeah, and then I only had to, after the body, I had to make the props and the ghost, which I didn't actually. I don't think I have footage. If I have footage of it, I'll put it in right here, but I don't think I had any. After that, it was off to the 3D printers. 3D printing was pretty simple. I did 4 prints. I did the head in flesh tone. I did the body. I did the ghost in a clear blue, and then I did the gun or the grabber in a white in our bigger printer. Yeah, and that's about it. I didn't really get a lot of shots of me painting this project, but here you can see it primered. After this primer stage, I just went in and painted the details of the belts and things. It wasn't really that complicated of a paint job on this one like the last figure. Yeah, and that's about it. After that, it was just assembly. So let's see what it looks like once it was all assembled. Once again, just like the last figure, I think this one came out really fun and looks really cool. I like the pose. I like his face. It's really funny. Yeah, until next time.